DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Taxon, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG Things. And today we're bringing you another very exciting deck profile, guys. This is going to be the deck that I took to my locals last week and got third or second place with. I went 2-1. This is going to be my GT Goku list. But before we get into it, guys, I do want to say if you guys want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs. Links in the description as usual. And also on the screen now you can see that they are holding a monthly tournament via Discord at the second weekend of every single month with some great pricing here. You can come win some promat mats, TCG metal leaders, and also some booster boxes. So if this is something you're interested in, use the links in the description below to go to this Discord and join it. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this list or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, guys, let's spin it around and dive in.
Alrighty, guys, here's the deck. Now let's go ahead and go over it. First things first, let's talk about the leader. Auto when this card is placed into your leader area, go ahead and play one of these two copies of this card from your deck. This is your Unison, your Spaceship Vessel of Hope. It comes out with one marker on it when you play him in your leader area. And then auto, when he attacks, you get to choose one Saiyan in your hand, place it underneath your Spaceship Vessel, and then you get to draw two cards. And then your Awaken ability is when your Unison is at 7 or more markers, or if you're at 4 or less life, you get to draw two cards, rip to you're at 6, and then flip over. On the back side, when you attack, you draw. You have an activate main once per turn for 1 red energy. If you don't have a Unison card in play, you can play one Spaceship Vessel of Hope from your hand or drop area with a marker on it. This is really good for decks that can get rid of Unisons or cards, or decks that have cards in them that just have hard Unison like removal. So that effect will come up actually quite a bit depending on how many of your matchups can get rid of your Unison. With that being said, activate main spear boost 10 once per turn. If you have 5 or more energy, play one Son Goku GT red card with an energy cost of 8 from your hand, and it gets 5,000 power. So that's going to be really useful when it comes to playing some of your boss monsters later on. So talk about the Unison real quick. As in power red 10, you almost will never use that effect. Permanent, this card can't attack. Auto, when this card is played and has 4 more markers on it, you get to draw one card, choose up to one of your red battle cards, and up to one of your red leader cards, and then you get +5 for the turn. So that essentially only really happens when you use the power play. You'll play this for 1, and then you'll give +5 to one of your battle cards and your leader card, and you'll draw 1. And then the effect that you'll use every single turn is the ±0. Place one Saiyan from your hand underneath this card, then draw a card, and then you get to add up to 3 markers onto this card depending how many cards you have underneath it. So depending on how your plays go, normally turn 1 you'll play like a 1-drop that like searches and then places itself under here and then upticks. And then your leader swing will put 1 underneath it and then draw 2, and then you'll use the plus. We'll put 1 underneath it, draw it, and then you'll have a total of 3 underneath it from that point, and then you'll just get 3 markers from there. So it normally gets up to 5 markers if you go second. Since we're talking about the Unison, the first thing that comes to mind is our counterplay, obviously. We play 4 Yamcha, Merciless Barrage. Not much to say about it. Counter window 2, neg 2 cards, 15k. Vegeta Resolved Renewed. I play this card at 2. I would argue this card definitely be at a 3 because when you need it, and if you don't have it, you don't have it. But this deck just draws and filters through so many cards, so more than likely you'll see one to both copies of this card, depending on if it's your life or not. So yeah, in case you guys don't know what this does, counterplay. Battle card being played has 15,000 power or less. It's placed in the owner's drop area instead of being played. This card costs 1 if you're at 3 or more energy. That's really good because basically to stop floodgates, really. On to some of our negate package, guys. All of them are free. We have Testing the Opposition. This is the blocker token negate, basically 5 or less life. Rip 1, cast this thing, negate the attack, and then play a token that gains blocker for the duration of the turn. Note that this card is free, very important. Wolf Fang Fist. Counterattack, if your leader is mono red, choose one of the attacking battle cards and it gets minus 15,000 power, ignoring barrier. Very important that this card can be cast for free if you have a Unison in play, so this card is live turn 1. This card I would consider cutting to 2 just to bump Vegeta up to 3, just because Wolf Fang's great and all, but there's so many other minusing techniques in this deck, and there's different types of negates that are going to help us get to the finish anyways, so I just felt like this could definitely go down to 2. But with that being said, King Vegeta Imposing Presence, another free negate. If you're at 3 life or less, you can discard 1 card from your hand to activate this card for free. Basically, if your leader card is a red Saiyan, you get to choose the attacking card, ignoring barrier, gets minus 10,000 power. Then for the duration of the turn, if your opponent wants to attack, the attacking card must get minus 5. So it's really good against Weenie Rush decks, and it helps a lot against the early games against things like U7 Goku, just because a lot of their cards are like 15k, dual attackers, and or double strikes. So this card, very, very good. Next up, probably the best free negate in the entire deck. Difference of status. This card, I would never, ever recommend going less than 3. Actually, sometimes I wish I had the 4th, just because this card, I would use it so often. It's very, very good. So basically, it's counterattack for 0 energy, Spirit Boost X. If your leader card is mono red, choose one of the opponent's cards, and it gets minus 5,000 power for the turn. So that can be unisons, leaders, and or battle cards. And then, if you removed a marker from your unison with this card's skill, choose up to one of your opponent's cards, and it gets minus 5,000 power for each marker you removed. So when you cast this for free, you automatically get a free minus 5. And then for every marker you remove, you get minus 5 off a different card. So you don't have to target the same card with both of these effects. So when you cast this, you can like minus 5 the leader so that they have to combo up to actually deal damage. And then you can use a couple of your markers on your unison for the Spirit Boost X part of this, and then minus like 10 or 15 off a battle card and to kill it and or just prevent another attack. The card is very, very good. Next up, we have our super combos. We play Raditz. There could be an argument to play the other one. I just like Raditz just because I like the filter. This deck filters so much, and it just goes with the theme of the deck. Not too hard to turn on, honestly. You do take yourself down to 6, so realistically, all you have to do is let your opponent hit you one time, and then after that one time, you just have to cast Testing the Yuhp, and then from there on, you're just chilling with your Raditzes live, and then you're booming. So with that being said, those are our super combos. Let's move on to some of the actual main engine of the deck. We have 4 copies of Son Goku Adventures Advent. This card's really cool. This is probably one of my favorite turn 1 plays in the entire game, or in this entire deck. When this card is played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 red Saiyan with an energy cost of 4 or less, or 1 red Unison card with a specified cost of 1 to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This card's great, and the reason I like this card a lot on my turn 1 is because I can search my super combos. It's just phenomenal. That's another reason I like Raditz in this deck, is because this 1-drop will just search the super combo, and there's other ways to play this 1-drop other than just hard casting it out of your hand for 1, which is pretty nice. So with that being said, it also has an activate main limit 1, which is important to note. Choose 1 spaceship vessel of hope in your unison area, and then place this card underneath it, add a marker to it. So after you play this for 1, you get to do the top 5 search, whatnot, grab whatever you want out of that, and then place it under your unison and add a marker to it. This will add to the count of cards underneath it for the uptick on it, and then it'll also add a marker to it, so it'll normally go up to 5 if you go second. Next up, we have 2 of the Pan Adventures Advent. I really like this card as well. This isn't my favorite turn 1 play, but I do like sticking this on board later on in the game so that I can put some cards under my unisons, and because you will start, like, once you awaken, you'll start running out of effects to put cards under your unison. So you do want to stick this card down to where you can just put any Saiyan you want underneath it at any moment of the game, so you can put any of the 4-drops or 3-drops or whatever to play them at any point in the game. So it's really, really important to have this card, I feel. Next up, 2 of these trunks. This card just draws a card and then has an activate main. Place it under your unison and add a marker to it. So basically, this card draws a card and then does the same thing as this card, and then this card is a barrier card that's going to stay on field, and then just basically choose 1 in your hand, place it under, draw a card, and then add a marker to it. So they all have their own unique, like, little effects. These 2 are closer in resemblance to each other than this one is. This one's a little bit different than all of them, but these are all really great turn 1 plays. I just wanted to make sure I had one of those turn 1 plays that was going to help add markers to my unison and add cards underneath it. So that's kind of what my entire plan was there. This Trunks, though, I would say this could probably turn into the Self-Awakening crit Trunks. I do think that since I do play Raditz, the crit Trunks would be great, because we do have cards that can play this card out from under the unison if we really need to. So let's talk about it real quick. Pan. If this was the crit Trunks, I could pay 2 on this with this card on turn 2 to play this card in another Goku. And basically have 2 crit attacks on my turn 2, and it'd help me self-awaken to get down to 5 in order to use Testing the Yuhp and or to use Testing the Yuhp to turn on Raditz's Saiyan youth. So yeah, that's how I felt about that. But anyways, that could be changed to the other one. That's on your guys'. That's your opinion, guys. I would definitely change it. This is just what I played last week. 2-cost Pan. This card's great. You place this card into the under your unison with any effect, basically, and then you can Spirit Boost 1, play it out from under it if you have 2 or more energy, and that effect is free, so basically you get to bait counters on that, as well as the secondary effect, limit 1, pay 2 energy. You get to play 1 Goku GT and 1 Trunks GT, both 15k in red, from under your unison. So normally here, I'll pull out the targets real quick. We do have a bunch of them. So we have 4 of those Gokus, 2 of these Trunks, and 4 of these Trunks. So essentially, this pan is a blocker that you can pay 2 to play a 15k crit and a 15k blocker, or a 15k deadly defender barrier that's going to help protect the markers on your unison. Another cool thing, like I was just trying to say, is if this was the 1-drop crit Trunks and I was at like 5 or 6 life when I was on turn 2 or turn 3 when I was activating Pan, you could actually use Pan's effect to play the Self-Awakener out from under the unison and then swing with it that way to get yourself down to 5 or 4 in order to use testing or this. So that's a cool idea there. But anyways, you get to play the 15k Goku, which is very, very good. This is a crit pressure, which is always going to bait things out of your opponent's hands, whether it be combo power, negates, yada yada, or they're just going to take a life. You get this. This card also has a very unique effect of being able to choose 1 card in your hand, place it under, or 1 Saiyan in your hand, place it under your unison, draw a card, and add a marker to it. So that's really good for adding different cards underneath it, so you can play them out later. This card, when it's played, it just minuses 10 a battle card, which is it's good. I just wish it was like a 15. 10 is good though. Minus is 10, so you can put cards into kill range if you wanted to swing into a battle card. Not much to say about this card. It does have a permanent, so that when it's in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your unison card. So it's basically a deadly defender, and it has barrier, so this card will stick around if your opponent doesn't have any barrier removal, so that's pretty cool. This one's just a blocker. I almost never use this card to play out with Pan, but it does have a 1-cost effect. Play it out from under your unison, and then when it gets played, you can add a Saiyan from your hand underneath it, draw a card, and add a marker to the unison. So this card is pretty good in sticky situations when you know you kind of just need to have a blocker on field, or else you're going to get clapped. So I was using him in a lot of situations like that. He's not necessarily in the deck. You could cut him if you wanted to. Next up, the next card that gets played out from underneath the unison, we have 4 of the Son Goku soaring through space. I like to run 4 of most of these cards just because these like 4 right here are like the main quote-unquote like engine of the deck. These are what's going to get your ball rolling. So basically this card has 1 energy effect. If you have 3 or more energy, you can play him out from under your unison, and whenever he gets played, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and minus it by 10,000 or by 20,000 power for the turn. That's very good, especially tagged along. For just 2 energy investment, you could play him and Trunks and kill a 30k card, not ignoring barrier. Very, very good. And then also when this card attacks, you get to choose a Saiyan from your hand or drop area. Important to note, from drop area, and place it underneath your unison and add a marker. Does it add a marker? It does not add a marker, but it does reload your other cards. So basically, if let's say you had this out turn 2 or whatever, it gets killed. Turn 3, you play this, you swing with it. You can stuff this right back under your unison so that you can go to play it again. And or if your Pan gets KO'd, or if you block with it, you can just attack with this and then shove it back under your unison from the drop area. Very, very good effect. Next up, we have 3 copies of SS Son Goku, Pan, and SS Trunks. Basically just the GT trio. This card, for 3 energies, if you have 4 or more energy, you can play this card out from under your unison. Very good. It has deflect, so really good against blue. It's not going to get messed with. Activate main, Spirit Boost 3 once per turn. You get to choose all of your opponent's battle cards, not ignoring barrier, minus them by 30,000 power, and then this card gains triple attack for the turn. That is really good. So for just 3 energies and a board wipe, you're going to, and a Spirit Boost 3, you're going to get a board wipe and a triple attack 30k. Very, very good. And then it also has activate main, limit 1. Choose 1 of your red unisons with 10,000 power or more, and then place this card underneath it. If you from your hand or battle area, add a marker to the chosen card. That's not ever going to happen from hand. Like, I never use that from hand. Like, if this card goes under my unison, it's more than likely because I shoved it under with Pan, I shoved it under with this +1, I shoved it under with my leader, I shoved it under with this auto. Like, I almost never use that activate main from hand because it feels like a hard neg. But the cool thing about it is, like, when he's in field and you're swinging with him, let's say you get stopped with a floodgate, or they just survive all 3 of his attacks, yada yada. You can just activate main, get rid of him from field, place him under the unison, and get a marker to your unison, and this way you'll save this card so you can replay him next turn, and your opponent won't be able to kill him and put him into the drop area. So that's a cool thing to note there. Because we talked about GT Goku, in case you guys don't know, the Spirit Boost 10 effect can play this card for free on turn 5, and the reason that's so important is because we play 1 copy of Triple Flash Son Goku SS4. So basically, you'll never ever play this card for 3 and then play this card over it, because I don't play, in this deck at least, in my build, I don't play any cards that are going to beef this card up by 10k. So essentially, my plan is to get this card out. I can swing with it off its effect, right? Get its triple attack off of its effect. I can use the pay 3 to swing 3 times with this card, and then if I'm on turn 5, if they don't die on turn 4, if I get to turn 5, I can Spirit Boost 10, play one of these from my hand, and then for 1 energy, because this is free, the Spirit Boost 10 part is free, so I get to play this from my hand for free. And if I don't attack with it, or I don't Spirit Boost, I can just pay 1 and hardcast this sucker over it, and then draw 2 cards, and then swing with the big old triple strike there. So that's the main play in how to get triple flash off. I only really have done that not that many times. I'm going to be 100% honest. I have not got that effect off too many times. It's honestly kind of hard and tricky. It makes it this card, just because it's a 1 plus 10k and almost everything else in this deck is like a free negate or free 5k. This card almost either gets like charged or bottom decked off my super combo, like almost as the first option every single time, because though it is a big beefy triple striker, it almost never wins me the game because I don't play any of the cards to beef him up so that it can't get countered. So with that being said, I have one with it. It's not often that I do. Next up, we play 1 copy of Kaioken Goku. This deck has 0 barrier removal, so this is absolutely necessary. I almost would want to bump that up to 3, but I'm a hard advocate of running all these things at 4, so it's kind of hard to make room for myself. But I probably could bump the 4 drop down to 3 since I can only play them on turn 3. Bump that down to 3. Bump this up to 2, because having the barrier removal is very, very important. Next one of not much to say, we play a unison that gets up to 3 markers very, very quickly. I have gotten this card off, and this card has no energy restriction. So like if you want to and you are in a position to, like let's say your opponent's at 6-5 life and you're trying to make them skip the testing the op range and then get them straight down to 4 so that they have to awaken right away, you can just drop this sucker on like turn 2 and just swing with it, along with like your crit comes out turn 1 or turn 2 as well if you need to. So you can do a lot of really, really aggressive plays with this deck. King Piccolo, absolutely necessary. Even as a 1-of, you almost guarantee see it every single game because you draw and filter so much with this deck. Next up, Hidden Power E Supreme Kai. I choose this one just because I like the character. Yes, you have to declare double strike if you use this card. Remember, before you go into another combo after dropping this into your combo area, point at your card and say, give this double strike, and then continue comboing, or just save this for the last card. Anyways, I just like this card just because I like this character better than Champa. It's the same thing, just give your card double strike. Overall, my choice, SS3 Son Goku, Man on a Mission. Not much to say about this, kind of a flex box overwhelm. Like, in all honesty, so many people are trying to like figure out what the best overwhelm is right now, but this deck has like a ton of crit pressure. Like you crit pressure with this a lot really early, and then like if you just drop this, even if it's not for game, just drop this, you're gonna force cards from hand, and it's really nice because once you force those cards from hand, you can play other big bombs. So being free, double strike, crit, very, very powerful. And then you guessed it, the secret rare of choice, Vegeta. I don't think you play any other secret rare in this deck unless it's Pan or Kai. You can play Kai in this deck if you want to, because it will help a lot in the mirror match. But I just like Vegeta a lot because this card, I mean, it's 1 turn later than Kai, but it essentially does the same thing as Kai and minuses your opponent's leader by 5k and gives it gets a crit life. So that's really important. Card's really good. Does cost a little bit more, but there's been times where like I have straight up just swing with this and like tried to go for the 4 damage that way, and I have honestly gotten off many of times. So yeah, Vegeta's just too good not to play. With that being said, guys, this is my deck. Sorry that I laid it all out all sloppy for you. If you guys enjoyed the profile, man, leave me a comment below. I would like to know your guys' ratios. This is my first iteration of the deck. This is the first time I did take it to my local and see how it did. So I'm sure I'll be testing with numbers and finding out better ratios from here on out. Like I said, Wolfang I feel like could get dropped down to 2. I also feel like this could get dropped down to 3. I feel like Kaioken needs to get bumped up to needs to be at 2. Like if you're playing this deck, guys, hear me out on this. Kaioken should be at 2. Like I get it, we have a lot of minusing power and a lot of removal, but once a battle card with barrier hits field, it is so ever loving hard to get rid of it unless you have this card. So just run 2 of these. I promise you guys it'll be better than just 1. With that being said, this is the profile. Let me know what you guys think about it. And with that being said, we will see you guys next time.